Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch Break with the Rabbi. Albeit a little bit late, but we're here nonetheless. Today is Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. It is Tuesday Torah reading of Parshas Vayikra, the third of Nisan, as every single day, getting closer to the holiday of Passover. So today we're going to start talking about the holiday of Passover and essentially what the holiday of Passover is all about. When we talk about the holiday of Passover, just a quick reminder that, first of all, please visit our website, jewishally.com, for all your Passover needs, to sell your chametz, order your matzah, reserve a spot by the Seder or a Seder to go. All that can be done at jewishally.com for all your Passover needs. So please make sure you do it sooner than later. But today we're going to talk about the concept, the underlying concept of what Passover is all about. And then in the next few days, maybe we'll go into some technicalities as well. The underlying concept of Passover is we call it the celebration of freedom. But when we talk about the names of Passover, one of the names of Passover, as we know, is Passover, to pass over, where God passed over the homes of the Jewish people and therefore only killed the Egyptian firstborn, thereby sparing the Jewish people. Another name that we find of the Torah that calls Passover is Chag HaMatzos, the celebration of matzos. But throughout the holidays and the Kiddush and the prayers, there's an underlying theme of Passover, which is called Zman Cheruseinu, a time of freedom. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean that all of a sudden in Passover, we are feeling freedom? What kind of freedom? Where is the freedom? What do we call freedom? What were the Jews free of that they were enslaved before? And how do we achieve this freedom today in our day-to-day life? In our contemporary life, where we don't have any longer the pharaohs, the Egyptians, we're not slaves. So what does it mean for us today to be free? So first, let's define what it means to be a slave. A slave, by definition, means that you are forced to be in a certain box, into a certain situation. You don't have the freedom to express yourself. You don't have the freedom to do what you want, to go where you want and how you want. Your whole life and occupation is all subdued and subservient to an individual or to whatever an theology may be. Take, for example, the Jewish people. They were slaves to the Egyptians. They were forced to do labor. They were not able to leave the land of Egypt, so they're slaves at the time. But slavery doesn't necessarily mean forced labor. Slavery means confinement. Slavery means not being allowed inhibition to express your true desire or your true self. And that's a slavery we all are in today. But where does slavery come from? Why does a person become enslaved in this type of a feeling? And what doesn't allow him or them to be able to express who they truly are? Which takes us to the next step of another name of what Passover is called, which is the Festival of Matzahs. There's an interesting phenomenon when you look at the concept of matzah. There's something which is prohibited on Passover, which is called chametz, leavened bread. What's permissible and what is obligated to eat is called matzah. They both have the exact same letters, mem, tzadik, but there's one letter that's different. It's ches for the chametz and hey for the matzah. Chametz means leavened bread, while matzah is thin, no ingredients. Chametz is complicated, rises, flavorful, but at the same time, it's full of ego. What Judaism is teaching us and what the festival of Pesach is telling us, the number one ingredient of slavery, of inhibition to truly express yourself, is your own ego. We create the limitations. We create the boundaries. We create our own self-created inhibitions and boxes that does not allow us to truly express ourselves. Why? Because we become a slave to our ego. We become a slave to our pleasures, to the colorful dynamic which we believe we are. But really what we're doing is enclosing ourselves into a certain perimeter and not allowing ourselves to move out of the box. And that is because of our own ego. We sometimes will say things, well, I'm not comfortable with doing that. I'm not used to doing that. I've never done that before. And therefore, we don't allow ourselves to grow and to experience things that we've never experienced before. So we become a slave to our ego. Matzah, on the other hand, is humility. It's thin, no flavor. It's only water and wheat flour. It doesn't grow. It doesn't rise. Matzah is the concept of humility. If you take the two letters that are different than the ches and the hey, the ches is two walls and then a roof. Once you go in, you're stuck. Because of egotism, there's no escaping. You get stuck. While a hey has a little passageway, because when you're humble, you have a place to escape. This is what the Torah tells us. Zman Cheruseinu. Pesach is a time of freedom. Think about it. During the Seder, we take the vegetable and we dip it into water. Why are we dipping it? What's the concept of immersion? When you take something which is sweet and dip it into something salty, it loses its previous persona and now takes on what it was immersed in. It totally gives away from itself. It totally allows itself to just melt away. The best way to be free is to be vulnerable, is to allow yourself to be humble. Allow yourself to rid yourself from your previous inclinations, your previous understandings, your previous way of thinking, and say, yes, there's more to share, there's more to learn, there's more to experience. And realize and appreciate you're not enslaved to what you previously thought you are. The only reason why you would be is because of ego. You're afraid you might fail. You're afraid you might not like it. Try it. Judaism comes along and tells us Pesach is a celebration of freedom, celebration of liberation. The word Mitzrayim means limitations. Don't create limitations for yourself. Feel free. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be humble. Let the humility settle in and say, yes, there's more for me to learn. There's more for me to experience. I don't know it all. My cup is not full. I still have more to receive. I have still more to learn. This is what the festival of Passover is about. This is what the Jewish people experienced. After 210 years of intense slavery, of confinement, of not allowing them to experience something outside but the idolatry of Egypt, they were all of a sudden taken out of Egypt. Meaning Egypt was taken out of them. And therefore, when they continued on their travels, and as they worked for 50 days until they reached to Mount Sinai, to ultimately appreciate the greatest level of their soul, of spiritually connecting with God, something that did not allow them while they were in the land of Egypt. They were completely released from the impurities of the inhibitions of the past, as every single day they climbed the ladder of the future. This, the Torah tells us, this Passover tells us, we can do the same. This is not just a story of 3,300 years ago. This is a story of every single one of our life. We can all overcome the limitations and the boundaries that we may have set ourselves, or we may think or seem and have an illusion that they're there in front of us. It's a question of what is your prerogative? What is your objective? Do you want to submit yourself to your slavery, to your ego? Or do you want to be humble and say, yes, I want to experience more? Passover reminds us, be a matzah, be humble. Realize you always have more to learn, more to experience, and allow yourselves to be vulnerable. Allow yourselves to be susceptible to learning more. Don't just say, well, I have not done it before. It's not my comfort zone. Yes, leave Egypt. Leave your comfort zone. Leave those limitations behind and allow yourselves to go through the 49 different chambers of your emotion. Allow yourself to understand and appreciate and climb through the different levels of your intellect to realizing and appreciating what you truly are, and your true self can become and grow exponentially. My blessing is to all of us here today. Let the power of Passover give us the power to be free, truly experience freedom without limitations, and understanding and appreciating our true self in the greatest form of freedom possible. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow, Lunch Break with the Rabbi at 1 p.m. Please remember to check out jewishally.com for all your Passover needs. Do it as soon as possible to make sure that we can accommodate as much as we can. God bless you. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Bye-bye.